Well, it's Monday of week 2, full-time schedule. Living my best life with ADD. People always say things like, everything's good until it's not. Or everything's okay until it's not. Well, me trying to manage my time it's a chore. It is difficult. And I give myself, nice little mosquito hanging out in the car. Where are you at? Trying to get on me. Anyways. So, my mornings are good until they're not. And that usually means I feel like I'm doing a good job at managing my time before work. Get this mosquito go out of the window. It's not working very well, needless to say. No, I'm gonna go straight today because I'm running late. Yeah, so long story short, I was feeling good starting out week 2. This weekend I reflected on week 1 to see it's gonna take me a good amount of time to readjust to working 40 hours a week. So this weekend I realized that, sorry, I know I'm using the audio for this, but sometimes for my podcast too, so the sound of a window open probably is not going to be very good. But these videos will be uncut when I post them to my YouTube channel, because I guess you can call it a vlog, because I am hoping to kind of document my day-to-day, not day. I'm gonna try to do the video thing as a means of being able to see a little bit more in real time what my ADD life looks like. I think I said this in my episode 5 of Wait, Please Don't Scroll podcast. That can be found on any podcast platform. But Spotify is the number 1 go-to. Mainly just because it's a free app download. But if you use Apple, Cast or any of those other things, it works fine there too. But I talked about a little bit, I think, in this episode from some of my other videos that, see, right now, in the moment, I'm trying to not be my worst enemy, my own worst enemy, and I'm going to try not to distract my own self with my own thoughts. I jump around, and I know it's frustrating for everybody. But guess what? It's frustrating for me too, because I know I'm doing it, and in the moment, I know I'm doing it. And by the time I am aware and I recognize it, there's already a break in my thought processes, and then it turns into just bleh. So anyways, if you can practice patience, because I'll say it a million times, patience is a virtue. And if you can have a little bit of patience with me, whether you're listening to my podcast or whether you're watching one of my vlogged diary kind of things, whatever you want to call this. Like my new serotonin. See how easy it is to get distracted? This is my new serotonin necklace. I got just someone who reached out to me on Instagram to be like a brand ambassador. I mean, really, it's just me trying to support other people who are also trying to be a voice and help people who are experiencing mental health. Just the whole mental health awareness movement. I got this necklace to support their cause, and serotonin. I cannot talk about serotonin at this exact moment. A, because that's not what I want to talk about, and B, I have not researched and studied enough about it to share any knowledge on that. I just know that serotonin levels have a big impact on your mental health. No matter what, serotonin levels are a key factor in a lot of that mental health stuff. But I, on a regular basis, every day, all day, it happens every time I try to have a conversation with somebody, anybody. My own thoughts interrupt me in the middle of talking, and then I will literally, at the drop of a dime, I'm changing the direction of what I'm talking about. It's very frustrating. But I was talking in one of my previous videos about how this first week back, last week, back to work full time it was a struggle, but I will say that in hindsight, had I not had my ADD rock bottom back in like January, and started really educating myself, waking up from my ADD rock bottom, had I not started educating myself and trying to reclaim my hijacked amygdala. I mean, I still have more clips from that particular podcast. Just an FYI. That will go into episode 6 of part 3. And she taught this, the whole point of the podcast that I listened to from the ADHD experts specifically was to address and talk about the amygdala hijacking. That happens very commonly in people that have ADHD. So, talking about the amygdala, understanding how the brain works is just very important. And it has been very helpful for me. But if you're listening to my podcast, or you're starting to watch my YouTube channel, which I haven't posted a lot on there, this is going to go on there. But I'm still recording. But pretty much, when they talk about this hijacking of the amygdala and talking about the prefrontal cortex, so when you live a life of having ADHD and it's not managed and or not diagnosed, then I was reflecting on this weekend that not only so they talk about the amygdala hijacking occurring as a stress response. So when you encounter something in your life, anything, it doesn't have to be, and this is something else I kind of wanted to bring up, was that when talking about, thank God I learned how to edit a little bit the audio, because I struggle sometimes to get the words out of my mouth. Not only get them out of my mouth, but get them out clearly and coherently. So that's why making these videos is going to be so important for me, because it's going to help me practice doing that. Which is why you've got to have a lot of patience with me doing this and going through this process, because I need to practice. I need to be able to do these things and lose that negative self-talk all the time that tells you you're stupid and you're an idiot, and my gosh, you can't even talk without sounding like an idiot or interrupting people. Like, that's the negative self-talk that happens to everybody. I mean, everybody has this. Like, the negative self-talk is not, only for people who have ADD. None of the stuff I'm talking about is necessarily only for ADD. There are certain aspects of ADD that are, key factors in ADD, but this amygdala business is not just an ADD thing, because Peggy talks about how it is the structure of how our brains are wired. It's primitive. Literally, like, everybody's brain is wired with this stress response in the amygdala that then triggers action to be made and decided upon from the prefrontal cortex. But I love how and I believe this might have been in episode 5, I just didn't get it quite in that audio, but that's why I wanted to break the podcast that I listened to about the amygdala stuff into a couple of different parts, because there's just too much for me to try to verbalize and process in one episode without it being like 5 hours long. And that, no one's going to listen to 5 hours. I mean, I'm trying to keep it at an hour or less so people will potentially listen to it. But, so a lot of this stuff I talk about is not only for people who have ADD, which is why anyone can listen to this podcast. I mean, ultimately, this is my way of participating in, just mental health awareness in people. But I happen to have ADD, so I'm able to talk about that and other people who may have it, because, like I said, I've said it a bunch of times in other podcast episodes that, they're like, if you don't have ADHD, you don't have to listen, you don't have to exclude yourself from this podcast, because everyone either knows somebody that has it, is married to somebody who has a child that has it, maybe your parent has it, or maybe your best friend has it, maybe your neighbor has it. I mean, a lot of people have it, whether they're diagnosed or not, and I feel like if you don't have it, listening to this could be beneficial, because it can help you better understand that there are mental health. I always struggle when I have to say this, because the book I read doesn't like calling ADD a disorder. Dr. Hallowell really tries to encourage people to embrace it as a gift and not as because everyone feels like, if I have a disorder, something's wrong with me. And having any kind of mental health disorder or condition, it does not mean we're broken. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with us. It just means that our brains are different. And I don't know about you, but it's so funny. I see this on t-shirts all the time, and it came into my head as I'm talking about this, but I'm laughing just because it's silly. But I have a daughter, and I am a female, and I love fantasy stuff. But in a field of horses, be a unicorn. I mean, you could use a lot of different analogies to get the same point across, but not everybody can be Albert Einstein. Not everybody can be Bill Gates. Not everybody can be Steve Jobs. Not everybody can be Michael Jordan. Not everybody can be, let me see if I can think of any other great, amazing people. Mother Teresa. Not everybody can be, not everybody can be, I might get this wrong, Vincent van Gogh. Not everybody can be Michael Jackson, or the point is just that when you struggle with an actual mental health disorder, Dr. Howell tries to really encourage people to look at ADD as a gift and not as a disorder. But you got to find the gift. If you go through life feeling like, my ADD or my OCD or my anxiety, or those are the big ones, that will just stop there. But you don't have to feel like something's wrong with you. You got to find the gift in those things. And that's like the magic. We don't have magic wands to fix. Well, that's the other thing you have to train your brain not to think you can fix your brain. You have to realize that my brain is special and it is unique. And it's up to me to figure out what that means, and then to turn it into a gift, which is what I'm doing. I'm trying to turn this into a gift, because these boots were made for walking and this mouth was made for talking. I am not a comedian, so but I try to be funny. I don't know why. It doesn't matter really, because you know what? When I try to be funny, I make myself laugh. So if I can make myself laugh, then yes. And I always say that if I do make somebody laugh and you're laughing at me, I'm okay with that, because a laugh is a laugh. I want to say that laughing is like a dopamine booster, like laughter and all that stuff. Maybe it may be a serotonin booster too. I don't know. Like I said, I do need to do a little bit more research on serotonin and how it affects the mental health. And I know that there are certain foods that can boost serotonin levels. And I believe serotonin levels factor into depression and things like that. So that's kind of another reason why, so that was why I got this necklace, when I was supporting this movement from this person, these people who have an Instagram account, and they are advocates for mental health, and I supported them. But in doing that, I'm also trying to raise my own awareness, and where did it go? One way to learn mindfulness and awareness is through, I learned it a lot of different ways, because when I first ever in my life experienced depression, it took me some time to get out of it, but one of the things that I learned in that process is awareness and mindfulness. And so we live really, regardless of mental health status, we live in a high, fast-paced world for the most part. Even if you live out in the boondocks and, it's really quiet, it doesn't mean that your brain's quiet, especially when you have ADD. You could be out in the middle of nowhere and your brain is still going to be going 110 miles an hour. So it's being aware. You have to find and try different ways of awareness. Some people will set alarms on their phone to go off at certain times of the day, just so that way when they hear this alarm go off, that it makes them say, oh, that's my awareness alarm. And you're encouraged to set this alarm, and then every time it goes off, no matter what you're doing, unless it is something that you cannot stop or whatever. I mean, like if you're... Anyways, the point is just that this is one of the ways for awareness, and that's to set an alarm, and every time that alarm goes off, as you're turning it off, you just take a moment and you just kind of stop and just take inventory of, where am I right now? Like, where am I physically in my living room? And what's around me? What am I doing? Am I alone? I mean, like, just doing a scan of your life in that moment. It doesn't have to last long. I mean, this could be like a little mini meditation. Just taking a minute to take a breath and just be like, because that alarm going off could be going off in the middle of a really traumatic thing. You could be in the middle of a panic attack, or you could be in the middle of just ranting to a friend about something that really pissed you off, and then the alarm goes off and it cuts right in the middle of whatever you're doing, and then you have to go, oh, that's my mindfulness and that's my awareness alarm, and then that goes, oh, I'm aware that I'm angry right now, and that is not a good feeling to have. It's not one of the virtues in life, is anger. It's one of the worst virtues. But anyways, so I'm at work, and I hope at some point throughout this day I can do videos, and that's another reason why I'm doing these videos, and I'm going to post them as a vlog maybe on my YouTube channel, because I had said it before how, well, I do a lot of my best thinking when I'm driving, for one, and I can't write in a journal all the things I might want to talk about on my podcast. I can't always just be writing down while I'm driving or when I'm in the middle of work. I mean, I can't video and I can't do this while I'm working, but when I think about things while I'm working, if I'm able to remember, the key is remembering. Like, I try, like if something comes up and I go, ooh, that's something important that I feel I need to share with people, and then I can try maybe on my break to get a little video and verbalize it, because for me, verbalizing thing is very helpful and very therapeutic. But when I can verbalize it, it helps me learn how to verbalize my emotions and my feelings. I am trying to start write in my journal in the mornings when I wake up, before I even get out of bed. That's kind of something I started doing last week, and I'm continuing that this week, and I like it. It's a nice little thing, a nice little change, way to start my day. But to go back and cycle to where I started with this video was just, everything's okay when you have ADHD until it's not. And like, I was doing good all morning until I got downstairs to put my lunch together. And then I'm scrambling because I didn't manage my time well enough to give myself enough time to get my lunch together without feeling like I was going to be late. And so for me, as soon as I feel like as soon as the thought enters my brain that I'm going to be late for work, it triggers my amygdala, and the amygdala responds to stress, and it has to go to that, I'm either got to run, flight, I'm going to freeze, or I'm going to fight. And I have to go into fight mode. But then fight mode, so I can get to work on time, means rush. I keep forgetting this, keep doing that. And then I really lose track of time. And then I get in the car and I go, anyways, happy Monday. Hope everyone has a wonderful day, and I will. The work day is over. I'm headed home. So, before I went into work this morning, I believe I left off on talking about learning awareness. And that's something that takes a lot of time, unless you already have been working with mindfulness and awareness in your life. But I will tell you, from my experiences, I mean, I really learned awareness back in like 2014, when I had gone through like my postpartum depression that then manifested into another kind of depression. And so I have been on the mindful and awareness path for a long time. I'm horrible at math in my head, but let's see here. So 2015. Yeah, don't ask me to do math in my head. I'm trying to put numbers while driving and talking, not a good idea. A while. But the tricky thing when you're working with awareness and mindfulness is that with my ADD, even if I'm medicated, I find that I could be very well aware and mindful when I'm not doing what I need to be doing or what I should be doing, or just all of the above. But it doesn't matter, because if you're mindful and aware, that doesn't change the behavior. It doesn't change the habit. That's the thing, is that like mindfulness and awareness is just part of what is required to make changes in your life and to manage your brain health, no matter what you got going on. Because again, I have been very mindful of a lot of stuff, but I'm not mindful enough to change the bad habits. So it's kind of one of those things where, I mean, like, you can go through life saying, you know what, I am gonna just not care, and I'm gonna know, and I'm gonna be very aware, and I'm gonna be very mindful that I'm doing it, but I don't care. If that's the kind of mindfulness and awareness you have, that's not healthy. It's not healthy at all. So, one of my favorite Buddha quotes, I love my Buddhist quotes, or Buddha quotes, not Buddhist, but it is a Buddhist quote, but is the mind is everything. What you think, you become. And it is very, very, very true. Because if you're mindful, aware, and you think, you know, like, even when I take my medication, my ADD sucks, and no matter what I do, my life is just terrible. I mean, if that's what you tell yourself every day, that's what you're gonna get. But if you're mindful and you're aware and you say, oh, like, you know, this is hard, this ADD stuff, I'm trying to be mindful, but it's difficult, I want to do better, you know, or, you know, what I've been doing these past 2 weeks, well, week, I'm going into the second week of working full time, is I randomly, because I'm really not that great at journaling, and going back to work full time, I knew was going to potentially be like a stressful period of transition in my life. So I thought to myself, like, I do always try to be really positive in my life, make the best out of every situation, but I know the importance of positive thinking and your mindset. You know, your mind is everything. What you think, you become. So I know this, and sometimes I know this, and I still just get the negative bug, and I still just get in a dark place, and that's just part of life. Life ebbs and flows. You go up and down with your emotions. It's just a part of life. And so, you know, all week, last week, and even today, I wake up, and before I stand up out of my bed, I grab a journal that I keep on my bedside, and I just write. I mean, I don't go crazy and write for like 10 minutes. I literally don't. It's a little tiny journal, and I don't even fill half a page. I literally just say, like, some days I'm like, I'm feeling really tired today. I really need to work on getting in bed earlier so I'm not feeling so tired when I wake up. Or I might, and then no matter what though, I always end whatever I decide to write in my journal, I always end it with, but it's gonna be a great day. And then I underline it, and I put an exclamation point, and then I circle it, and then I put a heart, and, so I just I'm just trying to set, a positive intention for the day. And I would have to say that even though, I can say that I wish my week could have been better, but there's always room for improvement. Every day we should be learning and growing. And that is part of why we are here together, is so we can learn and grow together. This podcast that I'm recording and these, I guess it's a vlog. I don't know. These vlog things, or these little YouTube diaries of my living my best life with ADHD, they're all ways to keep me learning, to keep me growing, and then I learn more when I see it, when I hear it, and then when I talk about it, and then the more I talk about it, the better I get at it. So this is me holding myself accountable, all while trying to help other people, which is just who I am. It has always been ingrained in my heart, in my soul, in the deepest parts of me to help other people, always. So I've done a lot of volunteer work over the years. I've done a lot of stuff because I just like to find ways to help other people, and contribute and put positive energy into the world, because you know what? When you put positive out into the world, you get positive back. That's just, sorry, my nose itches a lot. And when I'm editing my videos, I'm not doing any cutting. I mean, I haven't had to cut anything yet. I don't need to cut anything if my nose itches. I don't really care. I'm not picking my nose. My nose itches sometimes. But in my first video that I am gonna post hopefully tonight, I will warn you, I like effects. I have a lot of fun with it, but I don't plan on every episode or every vlog that I post having just a lot of effects. But I do like effects. They're fun. I learned a lot about effects and playing with them when I was on TikTok, and I'm still on TikTok. I just don't do as much. I've been doing a little bit more on TikTok because I'm doing my part to try to put a smile on someone's face here and there, usually by doing stupid things that then inadvertently, even if you're laughing at me, you're still laughing. Laughter is the best medicine. But so I don't plan to edit my videos other than adding effects, and I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna play while I learn. But on that very first two videos that I kind of mashed together to make one, I watched it all the way through first just to kind of see it, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to wear my hair up, because if I don't have my hair up like this, I'm constantly playing with my hair. So when you read a lot of ADD resources and books and stories from doctors with their patients and stuff, they talk about how, especially with kids in school, they some of the classic signs to look out for. Of course, in boys, the hyperactivity is they're fidgety, they can't sit still, they can't pay attention because they can't sit still. And so with girls, the hyperactivity is not as prevalent in girls or women. And so for me, that looks I have a supercharged fast brain, because that makes up for the not being physically unable to sit still. But in girls, they say, you know, if you notice that a student comes in and they always sit in the back of the class and they're always really quiet, they don't raise their hand, you know, oftentimes, that was me, by the way, I was the one who, and it's like, in hindsight, when I look back to my childhood, I felt like I was just shy, and that I just, you know, but because the ADD inadvertently made me feel stupid as a kid, I never had any confidence in my ability to learn. And then not only my ability to learn, but my ability to be able to verbalize what I'm learning. So, like, I would never raise my hand in the classroom, ever, until I got into my medical lab program. Because once I started studying something that I was really passionate about, and that if I was really going to do this for a living and as a career, you can't fail anything, like nothing. And that was the point where I started feeling like, you know, I'm really not stupid. It's just that if you don't engage and overcome those fears to speak and stuff, you're not going to learn as much. But in little girls, they say to look out for the girls who, like, always sit in the back of the classroom, that are always really quiet, they never raise their hand, and they say to look out for girls that twirl their hair, you know, that do the whole, like, hair twirling thing, you know. And of course, when you think about movies, growing up and watching movies all the time, the girls that twirled their hair, you know, they were like the preppy girls that were really rich and had all, or just best looking girls that had all the boyfriends, and they twirled their hair, you know. And so it's funny because that is what Hollywood does. Like, that's what they do, like, in movies, is they make you think that, like, it's the pretty girls that twirl their hair, you know. And I'm not a hair twirler, but when I have hair, so for me, I don't, like, twirl it, but if I have my hair down, for me, not being able to sit still doesn't look the same in me as it does in little boys or in men that have literally the inability to, like, sit still, and they're just always on the go. My mind's always on the go, and that's why it's like, I had a really short, even shorter than a pixie cut hair for like 4 years. So I got out of the habit of playing with my hair all the time. But as soon as I had hair, when I decided to grow my hair out, now it's back like that. Like, if I have my hair down, I mean, even when it's like this, I still have a tendency to, you'll see me just like, so I don't twirl my hair. I don't know. I do it, and I don't even know that I'm doing it until I watch video of myself for my YouTube channel. So I played, like, so my first video, by the time you see this, you will have already seen it and probably been like, oh my god, Ashley's videos make my eyes go bonkers. Well, think of it like, every time the screen blips, and so, like, on the app that I'm using to edit my videos and my audio, so one of the effects that I used was, it's called Bad TV. And so when I started editing it, I decided that every time I touch my hair or rub my nose, and I mean, honestly, sometimes I think that, yes, my nose does itch, but sometimes I feel like just messing with my hair and just, like, I'm fidgety in, like, my face and my hair, and just, like, I don't know. So I'm, like, fidgety in the head region. And so I decided that every time I saw myself do something like this with my hair, or like go like this, like, every time I messed with my hair in the video, I would do the bad TV thing. And that allowed me to really then go back and see just how many times I played with my hair. So now, after that first video, because my hair was down, see, my nose is itching again because I'm talking about, probably. But yeah, so my first video was a little crazy with the effects. I will try not to go too crazy on effects, but I do like them because they're fun, and because one of my gifts as a woman who is living her best life with ADHD is my creative brain. My creativity is like, so anything I can do that my brain recognizes as creative, that's, I think memory's not too great, but I think this morning I talked a little bit about brain exercise. No, maybe it was in that first episode. I talk about brain exercises. So I think I realized that after I listened to that audio in my podcast and posted it, I realized that I talked about brain exercises, but I didn't really go into a lot of detail. Oh God, I'm so sorry. But seriously, my nose is itching again. It is just, this always happens to me when I do videos too. It's just like, I feel like anytime I'm doing a video, my nose has to itch. It's just always, I gotta stop thinking about it. Okay. See, I'm my own worst enemy. That's another reason why I'm doing this, because normally I get one of the many things that I'm working on with my ADD is not getting angry when my ADD habits and tendencies do things that annoy me. I mean, it's pretty bad. Like, we all annoy ourselves from time to time, but when, I can only speak for ADD and me, but I annoy myself all the time because of how it affects my brain and my actions and my body and my, but I didn't go into detail about brain exercises. And so, I mean, I'm not an expert on any of this stuff, but from what I have heard and listened to, because people who have ADHD have a tendency to be very creative people. That's one way that a lot of people that have this are able to flip it upside down and turn that hyperactivity, whether it's in your brain or in your body, into creative projects. Like, if you think of artists who do those big, huge canvases where they just stand up and it looks like they're just flinging paint, and you're just like, what in the world? Anyone can do that. But then when you see the final product, you're just like, oh man. Anyone who has ADD and they're watching this, but I want people that don't necessarily have, you don't have to have ADD to enjoy my podcast or my YouTube channel videos, but because over time, I hope that it will be more than just talking about ADD only. It's just that that's always going to be a part of it because I have ADD. I mean, like, I can't take that out of me. But I do need to work on it. So I'm using this podcast and this YouTube channel to help me do that. And it's helping a lot. I mean, like, a lot already. But brain exercises can, like, it's usually, in my mind, you have brain exercises. So I feel like I should just, like, save this for another time. But what I'm going to do, because brain exercises there's a big spectrum, because brain exercises can be a part of therapy, meaning, like, for instance, Dr. Hallowell, who wrote the books that I call Bibles, he's dyslexic, so he had to get special therapies to work with his ADD and how it had effects with his dyslexia. So sometimes a brain exercise can be a way to exercise and try to work with a specific thing like dyslexia. But because the brain of someone with ADD is literally like, the wheels are spinning so fast all the time, that's why life always feels chaotic for us, because I can be on vacation and I can be laying around on a beach all day and sipping margaritas and having no kids, but at the end of the day, I can still feel exhausted because my brain doesn't rest. No one's brain technically rests, but unless you have ADD, you don't understand just how exhausting it is when you experience the number of thoughts that play in circles constantly in our heads all the time. So one way of exercising your brain can be stimulating. It could be trying to work with a very specific kind of I pause like this sometimes because I try so hard to steer away from always calling it a disorder or even a condition, but I don't really know what other words to use to describe it. But because those to me have like a negative connotation, and I'm trying to help teach people, whether you have it or know someone who does, to not look at ADD as a negative thing. And it's hard, especially if you have it, finding that gift of it instead. And then the other end of the spectrum for exercising your brain is calming exercises, things that slow your brain down. And Peggy says this, Dr. Hallowell will say this, other resources that I have read and studied say the same things. When you have ADD, they can't stress enough the importance of doing brain calming activities as much as you possibly can every single day. And so, if you're anything like most people, especially moms like me that work full time and all this stuff, I always say to myself, like, God, like for me, when I think of mind and brain calming exercises and so forth, the only thing that comes to mind for me is meditation and yoga, because those are things that, even though actually a yoga practice is more mind calming for me than meditation, because in meditation I have to really focus to quiet my thinking brain. Whereas I can't explain it. I am a yoga instructor, even though I have taken a little bit of a break from it because of the pandemic and going back to work full time. But I am really able to turn off the thinking brain a lot more when I'm doing yoga than anything else. But brain calming activities can be a lot of things, and I'll try to list off. I told you, me and my hair. It drives me nuts when my hair is dry. So some examples of mind, just, who cares? You know what? Let's just let it all hang out. And we'll go for a crazy 80s little thingy going on over there. Sorry, I have to laugh at myself for that one. So think of things like, well, first of all, whatever creative outlets you have, those are the things that I'm referring to. Like adult coloring books, coloring, drawing. For me, it's yoga, meditation, landscaping my yard, working out in the yard with my plants, working on my craft projects, those are the big ones for me that I can think of off the top of my head. So those are like essential on a daily basis. And whatever is mind calming for you should not include a cell phone. Unless, like for me, sometimes I will turn on, I subscribe to some YouTube channels that have, like the frequency music, and I also have a channel that I subscribe to that has some I am affirmations. So sometimes I will turn those on with my earbuds for meditation, so I can listen to someone talking and it helps me focus and all that stuff. So that is the only time for me that my phone is involved in my my calm time. But I am home. This will be most likely the last video of the day. This Monday, August 9th, 2021. If anything comes up before I go to bed that I really feel like I need to add to this day's video diary, I will do it before I go to bed. But when I post them on my YouTube channel, I will be mashing all of my videos and combining them together into one for you all. I hope everybody had a wonderful day. Please subscribe. I'm new to all of this social media stuff. But my Instagram is waitpleasedontscroll podcast. And then, of course, if you're watching my YouTube channel, then you found me somehow. And then, as far as Facebook goes, I do not have a Facebook page for my podcast. I may or may not. So right now, if you're a friend or a family, then you are in touch with me in that way. But my main source of reaching out to me is through my YouTube channel, leaving me comments there, or you can find me on Instagram and send me a direct message there. And I also have an email that is waitpleasedontscroll@gmail.com. So those are ways that you can reach me if you have any questions, comments, suggestions. Like if there is something that you would like to hear me talk more about, just let me know. I may have said this already, but they always say these boots are made for walking. Well, this mouth was made for talking. So, peace and love. Namaste.